Welcome back, family, to the most critical update you will hear all year. Forget everything you thought you knew about the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong, because what we're uncovering today isn't just another rumor from the online forums. This is a trail of breadcrumbs leading directly to the boardrooms of the global elite. And the data suggests their secret plan is finally entering its endgame for 2025. For decades, they've told you these currencies were hopeless, a fool's gamble, while simultaneously they've been building colossal financial infrastructures behind a curtain of sheer complexity and international secrecy. The truth is, the revaluation, or what insiders are now calling a monetary reset, was never a question of if, but a meticulously planned one, and the when is now being strategically positioned for the 2025 timeline based on a convergence of geopolitical, economic, and technological factors that are too significant to ignore. Let's talk about the Iraq-China oil deal that the mainstream financial news barely whispered about, a landmark agreement that completely bypasses the US dollar, pegging Iraq's vast oil reserves directly to the yuan, and by extension, creating a monumental need for a stable and internationally recognized Iraqi dinar to facilitate this new economic reality. Think about it logically. You cannot build a multi-trillion-dollar petro-yuan-based economy on a currency that is valued at a fraction of a penny. It's a mathematical and logistical impossibility, which is why the pressure for revaluation isn't coming from speculators, but from the central banks of the world's largest economies who need a stable Iraq to finalize this new global energy core. Now, shift your focus to Vietnam, a nation whose economic growth is so explosively consistent that it makes China's rise look sluggish, with a GDP that has been skyrocketing and a manufacturing base that has become the undeniable backbone of global supply chains, yet its currency remains artificially suppressed. And this suppression is the single biggest tell that a monumental adjustment is imminent. Why would global corporations like Samsung, Intel, and Apple invest hundreds of billions of dollars into a country, building the most advanced manufacturing hubs on the planet, if they believed the local currency was destined to remain at its current level? They wouldn't. Their investment is a direct, multi-billion-dollar bet on the future strength and stability of the Vietnamese Dong. And their internal financial models, which we do not have access to, are undoubtedly forecasting a radically different exchange rate in the near future to justify these colossal capital expenditures. The secret isn't in the public news headlines, it's in the dry, bureaucratic reports from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which have been quietly working with the Vietnamese government on a modernization of monetary policy framework. A phrase that, in the language of global finance, is a direct euphemism for comparing a currency for a significant upward revaluation to align with the nation's true economic power. Meanwhile, back in Iraq, the Central Bank of Iraq has been executing a silent financial revolution, not with press conferences, but with tangible actions like the dramatic reduction of the money supply by removing the large denomination notes from circulation, a classic and historically proven precursor to a currency reset that strengthens the value of the remaining notes in circulation and paves the way for the introduction of a new, stronger currency unit. This isn't speculation, this is standard central bank policy. And when you layer it with the fact that the US Federal Reserve has been quietly approving licenses for international banks to legally trade the Iraqi dinar in the Forex markets, a privilege never granted for a so-called worthless currency, the picture becomes crystal clear. The plumbing is being installed for a major event. And let's address the elephant in the room, the global debt crisis. The world is drowning in over $300 trillion of unpayable debt. And the entire fiat monetary system is creaking under its own weight. And the elites know that the only way to orchestrate a controlled demolition and rebuild of this system is to activate new economic engines and revalue undervalued assets, which is precisely where the strategically positioned currencies and resources, rich Iraq and manufacturing, tight in Vietnam, come into play as the perfect catalyst for the next phase of the global economic order. They have been conditioning the public for this reset for years through narratives about a great reset and build back better, but they never give you the practical, on-the-ground mechanics of how such a reset would actually work. And the mechanics point directly to the revaluation of these key, undervalued national currencies to rebalance global wealth and power structure. What you are witnessing is not a conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy of facts where every piece of independent data, bank readiness protocols to the construction of new financial clearing houses in Baghdad and Hanoi, points towards a coordinated move that will make early investors, the ones who understood the geopolitical chessboard, life-changing wealth. Now, let's pull back the curtain on the specific mechanisms and the human intelligence that confirms this isn't just a theory, but a coordinated operation already in motion, starting with the undeniable fact that the entire global seismic shift where nations from the BRICS Alliance to the Gulf Cooperation Council are actively building a new financial infrastructure that doesn't rely on the US dollar. And for this new multipolar world to function, it requires strong, independent regional currencies, which is the precise, unspoken role the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong are being groomed to play in the Middle East and Southeast Asia, respectively. Think of the recent, almost clandestine meetings between the Iraqi Prime Minister and the heads of JP Morgan and Citibank. These weren't discussions about charity. They were high-stakes negotiations on currency stabilization practices and the integration of Iraq's banking system into the global ISO 2022 standard, a new high-level financial messaging protocol that is essentially the exclusive club for the world's future reserve currencies. And Iraq's mandatory adoption by 2025 is the biggest public clue we have that the revaluation is a prerequisite for their entry. Simultaneously, in Vietnam, the State Bank of Vietnam has been engaging in a series of sophisticated monetary maneuvers that fly under the radar of casual observers, such as consistently buying up massive amounts of US dollars not to weaken the dong, as is incorrectly reported, to build a war chest of foreign reserves that now exceeds $100 billion, a colossal financial firewall whose sole purpose is to defend the new, higher exchange rate once the revaluation is officially triggered, preventing the kind of speculative attacks that could derail their economic miracle. This isn't a guess. This is the exact same playbook run by China in the early 2000s before they allowed the yuan to gradually appreciate. And Vietnam is following it with surgical precision, learning from the masters to avoid their mistakes. Furthermore, the data from the international bond markets tells a screaming story. Vietnam's recent issuance of sovereign debt was oversubscribed by nearly 400%, meaning international institutional investors were falling over themselves to get a piece of the action, a level of confidence that is fundamentally incompatible with a currency projected to remain stagnant, proving that the smart money on Wall Street and in London has already priced in a significant currency appreciation and is positioning their portfolios accordingly. Back in Iraq, the real signal is in the oil production numbers, which are projected to skyrocket to over 5 million barrels per day by the end of 2024. And this isn't just crude being pumped out of the ground, it's future wealth that needs a stable and powerful unit of account. And the current exchange rate makes a mockery of this incoming tidal wave of petrodollars, or more accurately petro-yuan, creating an economic pressure cooker that must and will be released through a revaluation. Let's talk about the human element. We have received credible, albeit anonymized, testimonials from mid-level bankers in Singapore and Dubai confirming that high-net-worth client desks have been quietly instructed to prepare for unusual liquidity events concerning exotic currencies in the 2024-2025 window, with specific internal memos highlighting the need for enhanced compliance and transaction processing capabilities for the IQD and BND pairs, a level of bureaucratic preparation that would not exist if this were merely an internet fantasy. Add to this the sudden and unexplained surge in physical currency purchases by certain European banking consortia, who are acquiring billions of dong and millions of dinar notes not as a speculative bet, but as a strategic asset to be held in their vaults, a move that mirrors how gold was hoarded in previous periods of monetary transition, signaling that these tangible currency notes are now being treated as a digital era equivalent of a hard asset. The geopolitical timing is also impeccably aligned with the United States increasingly preoccupied with its internal debt crisis and strategic competition with China, creating a power vacuum that allows nations like Iraq and Vietnam to assert their monetary sovereignty without facing the same level of political opposition that would have existed a decade ago, effectively giving them a narrow and critical window of opportunity to reset their value on the global stage. This entire process is being lubricated by the technological shift to digital currencies, where both Iraq and Vietnam are piloting their own central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, which provide the perfect technological veil to seamlessly transition from the old, devalued paper rate to a new, stronger digital exchange rate, effectively allowing for a switch to be flipped that would revalue the entire monetary base overnight with minimal public disruption. Every piece of evidence, from the boardrooms of Wall Street to the vaults of European banks and the digital ledgers of central banks, points to a single inescapable conclusion. The revaluation is no longer a matter of economic theory, but a logistical operation in its final stages of preparation. And the 2025 timeline represents the confluence of technological readiness, geopolitical commission, and overwhelming economic necessity. So, the ultimate question that remains is not what is happening or why, but what this truly means to you, the individual, watching this right now, because this entire engineered financial shift represents the single greatest transfer of wealth in human history, but it's a transfer that will bypass virtually everyone who is not consciously aware and strategically positioned. Designed not to lift the masses, but to further enrich the already powerful, who have been accumulating these currencies for pennies on the dollar for over a decade. Brutal, unvarnished truth is that the global elites and the central banks they influence do not want you to understand this, which is precisely why the mainstream media relentlessly labels the Dinar and Dong investment as a scam or a fantasy, a deliberate misinformation campaign to create confusion and apathy so that the general public remains disinterested and unprepared when they finalize their own position. Because if everyone knew the controlled and orderly revaluation they have planned would become a chaotic public frenzy they could not manage. This is your moment of decision, the critical juncture where you choose to either become a passive spectator to this historic event or an active participant in your own financial liberation. Participation requires immediate and decisive action, starting with the realization that this window of opportunity is closing faster than anyone anticipates, as the very banking protocols and international agreements we've discussed are now being finalized, meaning the pre-RV phase is effectively over. You must understand that once the new exchange rates are publicly announced on the screens of Bloomberg and Reuters, it will be too late, the gates will be closed, and the opportunity to acquire these currencies at their current pre-revaluation levels will vanish forever, locking you out of the financial reset and leaving you on the same fiat currency treadmill that is destined for hyperinflation and devaluation. Your first and most non-negotiable step is to educate yourself beyond this video, to dive deep into the primary source documents we consistently reference, the IF article ID consultations from Vietnam, the Central Bank of Iraq's annual reports, the SCU-FIC 2022 migration documents, because this knowledge is your armor against the wave of doubt and misinformation that will intensify as we get closer to the finish line, and it is the foundation of the unshakable conviction you will need to navigate the final volatile stages. Your next step is to secure your physical currency from a reputable and transparent source, not a random online dealer with opaque practices, but a company with a long-standing reputation, clear buy, back policies, and a track record of delivering authentic, high-quality notes directly to your hands, because in the final analysis, the tangible asset you hold in your possession is your only real ticket to this event, not a digital IU or a screenshot in an online bank account. Then you must develop and write down your specific step-by-step exit strategy for after the revaluation occurs, detailing exactly which banks you will contact, which currency exchange houses you have pre-vetted, and which financial advisors well versed in this niche you will consult to legally and efficiently convert your assets. Because the period immediately following the announcement will be one of maximum confusion and chaos, and those with a clear, cold-eyed plan will be the ones who successfully navigate the process and secure their wealth. You have to internalize the reality that this is not a lottery ticket. It is a strategic investment in a geopolitical certainty, and like any serious investment, it requires due diligence, patience, and the mental fortitude to ignore the constant noise from the naysayers who have not done a fraction of the research you are doing right now. This is your chance to break this cycle, to pay off every debt, to secure your family's future for generations, and to achieve a level of financial sovereignty that the current system is designed to deny you. But that chance is contingent on your willingness to act now, before the final domino falls and the world wakes up to a new financial dawn. So, I am telling you today, do not wait, do not hesitate, and do not doubt the evidence that is laid bare before you. The time for passive watching is over, and the time for decisive action is now. And that is why I need you to do 3 things for me and for yourself immediately. First, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now, and turn on notifications, because the moment any concrete news breaks, you will be the first to know with an immediate update, and you cannot afford to miss that alert. Second, go down into the comments section and type protocol activated, so I know you are part of the inner circle that is ready and understands the magnitude. And third, and most importantly, share this video with everyone you care about, every family member, every friend whose financial future you want to secure, because this information is too